How we doing, everybody, and welcome back to the Catalyst, where we break down all things bullish in the crypto markets. Today, quick update on AMP. Previously, we mentioned this metric here, the transactions greater than $100,000, and a few days ago on October 31st, we had an insane spike up to 190 transactions when previously it was sitting in like the teens and 20s. Well, today we had another enormous spike at 226, so I believe this is the highest it's ever been. That is obviously good news in some ways. The thing that's also interesting is we still have a very high concentration of large holders, and those are people or entities or whatever wallets that contain at least 1% of the total circulating supply. So that means 88% of the circulating supply of AMP is held by big bag holders. What that means for us is that whales control the price and they control the market for AMP. And they control the liquidity as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. That means there's potential for some volatility if the whales decide to, adjust their bags accordingly. If there's a big sell-off, we'll feel it. Additionally, if they buy up more, we'll certainly feel that as well. So it could go either way there. With that being said, with AMP, a lot of people have been in my DMs or commenting on videos about Alchemy Pay. And to be quite honest, I had not heard of this until, 5 or 6 days ago. Let's look at the 7-day chart here. So I unknowingly bought the lowest point right before the run up. But Alchemy Pay, if you're unaware, is kind of like a sibling coin or token to what AMP is doing. It's kind of the same idea in terms of creating this bridge between fiat and crypto, or crypto to crypto, or different types of currencies, where it can be put on a point of sale system, whether it's online or in a physical device or whatever. And the idea is that, similar to AMP, you can pay with one thing, and the person on the receiving end can choose kind of what they get paid in. So same exact concept, and I'm kind of like surface level here because I've only been aware of Alchemy Pay for approximately a week. So I'm not going to pretend to be any expert or anything on this at all. But I thought it might be interesting to kind of just go in a little blind here and do a little dive and kind of break down what it is together. So like I said, when I heard about it, I had briefly skimmed some research. I threw $100 in, so just a small bag, just get my toes wet, just to kind of see, what happens. I tend to find that if I put a little money in it or a little skin in the game, I tend to watch it more closely and start to, investigate a little more. And fortunately for me, I actually bought in right around this price down here, so it was sitting at the 5-cent range, and since then, it's doubled or so, but now we're, probably at about, almost 2x gains there, or 100% gains. That's not bad for something I just threw $100 at. That's a pretty good bet. But let's look here. So first thing that I want to point out, market cap, $300 million roughly. So the one thing that's important about this is it seems as though the pay rails, which is what this and what AMP would kind of be classified as, are growing in popularity as crypto as a whole grows in popularity. Because as we have more cryptos and more ways to pay for things and more different systems and apps and whatever, as crypto as a whole is getting elevated and transactions are now starting to actually be funded through crypto or using crypto, or people are receiving payment in crypto, now we need a lot of ways to communicate the different types of currencies without having a middleman. It's like you don't want to go to the bank and transfer, your euro into US dollar or vice versa, like the old school way. So these Alchemy and AMP both kind of provide somewhat instantaneous transactions, and with their like collateralizing systems that allow us to just make those transactions, not have to, cut out the middleman there. And I think that is actually going to be one of the biggest markets, especially in the bear market. And I'll probably do a video on that later. But I think these payrail systems are going to be absolutely enormous, because of course, yes, the metaverse is going to be huge. DeFi is going to be huge. Every other like aspect of crypto is going to be bigger than it is today. But I think one of the most important things is the accessibility of those different factions of crypto. And I think these payroll systems are going to be one of the best ways for those things to all kind of intertwine and communicate with each other. So that's why I've been so bullish on AMP. And you see that like half my channel is AMP videos. And similar, Alchemy, again, I'm just on the surface here, but it seems to have some of the same types of characteristics. And for that's why I'm kind of doing a little dive in on it and just see what it's about. With that being said, I think there's plenty of room for both AMP and Alchemy and any other collateralizing kind of crypto out there, similar to how there's, Apple people and, Microsoft people. It's kind of the same thing. But like I said, so market cap here, $300 million. The thing that's kind of interesting is as these gain popularity, this is one that is subject to significantly more volatility, because now, $300,000 for this is 100% of the total market cap of Alchemy. For AMP, $300,000 is, roughly 10% of the market cap. So if someone threw in, 300 million. If someone threw in $300 million to AMP, it would roughly go up 10%. Whereas if someone did that to Alchemy, it would double. So keep that in mind when you're investigating stocks. With that being said, though, like I said before about the AMP whales, is that means we're subject to significant volatility. If someone pulls out $300 million, not that there's one person that holds 300 million, but for the sake of the argument, if AMP would tank 10%, it might cost a little FUD or something like that. Not a big deal. I mean, we're already down that much today anyways. On the flip side of that would kind of empty out Alchemy Pay. It would tank 90%, 80%. So keep that in mind. Just raw, financial fundamentals. When you're looking at really low cap things like this, understand that there's extreme volatility. So that's kind of the first thing. I mean, obviously we're seeing some promising volume here. They're doing 200 million in volume in the last 24 hours. The chart is going up. And again, I'll go over the technical chart shortly, towards the end of the video here. But let's jump over actually to their website and just see, what they're offering here on their site. So they have 65 countries and regions, 300 payment gateways. So 300 ways, or 300 plus rather, that people can give and receive funding. 100 plus strategic partners and developers. You see big names here: Shopify, Binance, etc. They have several, applications, and they can accept payments through apps, point of sale, websites, and credit card. So, pretty standard, similar, very similar actually to AMP. They also, over here on the partnership page, you'll see in a second, the first thing that they have listed is acceptance at Shopify. This is obviously amazing. I would take this with a grain of salt. Think of this as like, you're like a wholesaler or retailer. You make, t-shirts or something like that. You can, as an individual, you can list your stuff on Amazon, or you could get your stuff in big box stores or something like that. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's being bought and doesn't mean it's being used. You can make the same argument for this. Just because Shopify allows Alchemy Pay to exist at, within its commerce system, whatever Shopify has there, that doesn't necessarily mean either the buyers are using it or the vendors or, anyone using Shopify is using the app just because it's provided. So keep that in mind. It is obviously amazing, but it's not Shopify stating, hey, this is the exclusive way that we handle all of our transactions. That's not what we're seeing here. We're just saying they're a global partner, providing 1 million plus online merchants crypto and fiat payment acceptance. Just because they're providing that service doesn't mean people are using that service. So just take that with some caution. That doesn't mean, it could be the flip of that too. There could be, plenty of people using it. I'm not sure. They also are driving some adoption for Binance's BNB and BUSD. So they partnered with Binance to enable the use of those payments. There's 3,000 Alchemy merchants now accepting Binance and BUSD. Okay, that's cool. They have Cello here as well, and servicing CLV world-renowned destinations. So, they have their foot in the door in quite a few different places. From my understanding, also, this is more focused on some of the Asian countries. So you see like Singapore's largest limousine suite, QF Pay. I'm not sure, really, I'm not super familiar with this company, but it's an Asia mobile payment leader. Hong Kong. So they have a lot of, skin in the game in the Asian countries, and then obviously Shopify is pretty international. So that could be a good hedge against AMP potentially. You could use this as a way to, if AMP is more Western, it's maybe more European or more American or whatever, maybe you want to diversify a bit and just go in on the payrail systems as a whole, the cryptos as a whole. And this might be a good one to get into more of the like Asian marketplace potentially. Again, do your own research, check out the site, read the white paper. But I'm just doing a quick little surface level guide here. So let's see what this inquiry page has. All right, so this is mostly just saying ways that you can use it yourself. So they have Alipay, Visa and Master, which is nice, and a bunch of other ones I'm not super familiar with. Again, probably because they might be, not American applications. Now let's look at the technology. Leveraging network protocols and technology to overcome challenges. So that's kind of their buzzword there. All right, 3 core technical advantages. So they're integrated second layer payment protocols. Partners only need to integrate with Alchemy, quite similar to the Flexo network or any of the other ones. They invented PullPay to support multi-mode payments. So I'm not quite sure what PullPay is, but we'll have to look at that. So there's zero confirmation for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and other longer block time crypto can be expedited to seconds with anti-fraud technology. This is quite similar to what AMP is doing, where they collateralize the payment and make it instantaneous, where you don't have to wait for those longer block time periods for those other cryptos. Okay, so they're adaptable to the blockchain network. That's kind of expected with a crypto. They integrate with the Lightning Network, Raiden Network, State Channel Network. They have some scaling solutions. Here we go. PullPay protocol. In favor of blockchain to pre-authorize PullPay and Lightning Network PullPay to meet the needs of various subscription and repeated payment scenarios. That didn't necessarily define PullPay for us, so we'll have to do a little more digging to find that out. They have smart contract templates, customizable templates. 4 smart contracts are available for use on the platform. That could be helpful for people getting, their toes wet with smart contracts. That might be an interesting service to provide. Cross-chain payments, so that can be, Lightning payments through Atomic Swap and Payment Channel. Utilizing those, the Submarine Swap as well, for a number of currencies that do not support Lightning Network for fast payment. Okay, so nothing super shocking that sticks out to me as like this big idea that's anything past what AMP is already doing in terms of collateralizing some payments. But they seem to be on kind of the same page with a similar technology to my understanding. Alrighty, so let's jump over into the chart now and check out ACH here, or Alchemy. So first off, just from looking at it right away, we have our golden cross here. This is from Coinbase, so that it was recently listed on Coinbase, similar to AMP, had a huge spike up, kind of did the same exact pattern that AMP is doing, and now it's actually, they both broke out of these big descending wedges that we've seen here. So we'll go to our wick and our low point there, and we could even draw like a pretty good little trend line here. And we see, it could go something like that, but even if we go like out to here, right? So we see the wicked out there. This is where it broke through that resistance, flipped the 55 into some support on the daily, and now it's going up quite a bit. And it looks like it's found some support on the 236 on the fib level. So, again, just kind of surface level investigation here. I haven't spent a lot of time checking out ACH, but it did have a pretty significant run up over the past couple days. going as low as I believe 4 cents, 4.5 cents, and upwards as high as 7.5 cents roughly. So if you bought in at the very lowest and sold at the highest, you'd have 150% gains. Not bad for about 4 days worth of work. So what can we expect from here? Obviously, as the whole market goes up, as Bitcoin goes up, that's going to be a huge plus for us. And altcoins such as this one will begin to kind of follow. As Bitcoin caps out, we will kind of rally up behind it, as altcoin season, tends to do. Short term, I think we're a little extended on the RSI. There's a good chance we will come back down a bit, even if that means that could happen with just us kind of revolving through these fib levels here. So we just need to find some support here. Ideally, it would be right at this fib level. So we'll throw a horizontal line here. Ideally, what would happen is we would get into this fib level and then, bounce off of it, find, another fib level or something inside that, some other form of resistance, something maybe in this range here at 10 cents or so. But something along there that we can find some resistance for, and then bounce off of that to then settle back down and test this once more to really get some strength. Also, that will drop the RSI quite low, which will be helpful for us to really rally and break through like the 12-cent barrier or the 14-cent barrier, and that is what can get us up into these kind of higher ranges, up in here. So just keep that in mind. We need to accumulate. We can't just go completely vertical. So us bouncing around in here is fine for now, and that will actually help drive this back down and settle it out a bit before we can start to cap it out again on the RSI. Again, like I say with AMP, it's a marathon, not a sprint. This one might be a little more short term because we're kind of running out of time in terms of the bull run. Likely only has a couple months left, and we've already done almost 100% gains on this guy. But again, it is such a low cap coin that it could easily hit some crazy numbers. I don't think it'll hit $1 or something, but if it were to hit something like 50 cents, the market cap would still be quite low. Let me check the Alchemy Market Cap once more. So for us to hit 50 cents, we would have to basically 5x from here, right? Because we're at 10 cents. So that would only put us at $1.5 billion. That's still half of what AMP is. I don't think Alchemy is as solid in the market as Flexi Network is, but it's also a crypto bull run, so obviously anything can pretty much happen. So for us to get to 50 cents isn't all that crazy, and like I said before, it's much harder for us to get to 50 cents with AMP simply because our market cap is much higher, so we need 10 times as much volume and activity and people buying to drive that market cap up. So just a quick little entry level video for ACH here, Alchemy Pay, and hopefully it was informative and kind of investigative because I'm still learning about it. I don't feel confident suggesting any type of investment with this until I myself has kind of investigated a little bit, so I'm still starting to do that. So with that being said, take your own cautions necessary. I thought it would just be interesting to kind of highlight this sister coin or this sibling coin to AMP to kind of just see, what else is out there. What's the potential direct competition for AMP and the Flexi Network. This doesn't change my opinions on AMP. I'm still super bullish on AMP itself, but there's, plenty of ways to make money in the market here. So we're just kind of investigating another one. So pretty cool here. Alchemy seems legit enough to at least invest some time and research it. It's not a total shit coin. It very well could turn out to be one. But for the time being and where the market's at right now, it doesn't look awful. And I think it's worth a glance anyways to do your own research, dive into the white papers, and go a little bit deeper than we did in this video today. So that is all I got for you guys. Hopefully this wasn't too long. It's kind of a long video already, but we will catch you next time for the next updates. Peace.